Hey guys, it's Mysterious Gertie, and I'm finally making another video! Aren't you proud of me? Alright. So I know it's past Halloween. It's like... Hang on, today is the 6th. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's 6 days past Halloween! Yay! But I don't care. And because I don't feel like getting scared by jump scares, technically ALBINO Lullaby doesn't have jump scares, but I don't feel like playing it because I'm a jerk. I want to know what happens, but like, I'm a jerk. So, I'm going to be reading a creepypasta. Isn't that original? But, please enjoy as I read Pokemon Lost Silver. I'll leave a link in the description where I found this story. But we gotta turn on that creepy music, the 10-hour loop kind. You know, my favorite. Oh yeah. Let me turn this up a little bit actually. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Should be able to hear it now. Alright. Let's get started. Even though this isn't about the Lavender Town syndrome, I'm still playing Lavender Town theme. Sorry if you all go insane. This is a 10-hour loop too. Okay. Let's start. Sorry if I'm not looking at the screen too. You see, I am a simple college student living alone in an apartment. I was very enthusiastic about the release of Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver here in the States. I have purposely locked myself out of all media and the internet aside for school purposes. That means no 4chan, no Bulbapedia, etc. As I was busy with the school year and being poor at the time, I wasn't able to buy Soul Silver on its launch date. After my school year ended, I ordered Soul Silver on Amazon. However, it would take a week for it to arrive. I decided that during that time, I would replay my Crystal version on my Game Boy Color. However, I realized that long ago, my mom threw it away because I told her the save went dead. And I was very upset about it then. She also threw away my Silver version, so all I have now is my Game Boy Color. As such, I set out to GameStop and bought a used Silver version, as it's the only Pokemon game left that they have for the Game Boy Color. $10, fairly cheap. I went home and started it up for a nostalgic trip. However, that's where things started getting bizarre, and most likely the reason why you're reading this. The Game Freak logo started up as normal, but it just froze there. I thought the cart was just errored or something, so I turned it off and on. The same thing happened. I tried pressing A and star over and over again, and all the buttons. Eventually, the logo vanished and there was a black screen for about 5 seconds. Suddenly, rather than going to the usual menu screen, I was already in the game in a previous save file, which was odd as I was expecting all these carts to have been wiped by the poor battery. Sorry, I'm losing my place. I'm horrible at this. Either way, I wasn't complaining, as I would have chosen the continue option to see what the previous guy did anyways. First off, I checked his trainer information. His name was just ... He didn't have much originality. I checked his profile, and apparently he had 999 hours and 99 minutes put into the game with all 16 badges, the max amount of Pokédollars, and all 251 Pokemon on the Pokédex. Seeing as he apparently had Mew and Celebi logged also, I am guessing that he either used a Game Genie or was a really hardcore Pokemon player back then. I checked his Pokemon to see what kind of team he had. To my surprise, I saw 5 unknowns and a 6th Pokemon named Hurry. I'm thinking that this must be some cruel joke by the person who last played the game, but I decided to check the profiles of the Pokemon anyways. As expected, they were different letters of unknown, all level 5. I was a bit shaky with my unknown alphabet at the time, but I identified the word spelled out to be leave. As for the 6th Pokemon, it turned out to be a Cyndaquil. Mind you, this is before they were individualized Pokemon icons. The Cyndaquil looked normal, but it was a level 5 with only 1 HP left, with only 2 attacks, Leer and Flash. I didn't know why they named him Hurry, but at the time I just disregarded it. The most eerie thing was that despite my volume being at max, none of the Pokemon had said their usual cries, just pure silence. Having enough of the team, I closed it. I was parked at what appeared to be a room inside Bellsprout Tower. However, for some reason, there were no NPCs around. Even more eerie was that the pillar in the middle didn't move at all, as if it's just leaning on its side. There was no music at all, and there was no exit or ladder, or at least I thought there wasn't. I walked around for a few minutes, but can't seem to find a way out. There was certainly no room I've seen in the Bellsprout Tower before. I had tried checking my items for an escape rope, but the bag was completely empty. There wasn't any wild Pokemon either. Finally, I managed to find a ladder which turned out to be behind the pillar. The screen turned black and the music finally started playing. I had a sudden chill as I realized that melody I heard to be the theme you hear when you listen to the radio and the Alph ruins where the unknown are all at. I immediately realized that it wasn't a loading transition, but rather I was in a dark room and would need flash. Before I took care of that, though, I immediately checked my Pokegear to change the radio to something more pleasant, but it turned out that there was no radio card, or even a phone, nor time cards. There was only a map card in which Gold, ... from earlier, as I will call him Gold from now on, was just walking in the midst of black. I recall that Cyndaquil has Flash, so I turned off my Pokegear and made Cyndaquil use Flash. I didn't see any message saying Hurry had used Flash or anything like that. The room just became lit just like that, and I soon regretted it. The room was a chilling blood red with a linear gray path heading south. The ladder I used to go up or down wasn't there at all. I had no choice but to head south. The screen got darker every 20 steps I made until I finally made it to the end, which appears to be a sign. I read the sign, which said, "Turn back now." Suddenly, I was asked to answer yes or no, but there was no question asked. I chose yes, and I didn't know what it was asking, and the screen went black, making a ladder climbing sound. The unknown radio music stopped, and in a few seconds it was replaced with the not as creepy Pokeflute radio music. I was in another dark room, but I held my breath as I used Flash again. Suddenly, it said that Hurry had fainted, which was odd since I recall that there was no status condition like poison on him, and I clearly wasn't in a battle. I checked my Pokemon quickly, and suddenly he was no longer in my party. In fact, after a bit of investigating, none of my Pokemon are there, but instead all replaced with level 10 unknown. I did the same thing as before and spelled out the unknown. My then team of unknown spelled, he died. Aren't I good at reading? Either way, after that creepy change, the room was lit to reveal myself in a very small room that appeared to be only 4 squares big. The walls of that room were gray bricks, as if I was inside something that was hollowed out. Outside that room appears to be a bunch of graves similar to the ones in Pokemon Red and Blue. I walked around that small room and pressed A, but nothing happened. I've already concluded that this was clearly a hacked game and some sadistic guy sold it to GameStop. However, my curiosity kept me going. I checked the trainer profile of ... again, only to find that the sprite of Gold was missing his arm. He also seemed to appear less smug, but rather seems more sad and empty in a way that I do not know how to describe. For some reason, it also said now he has 24 badges, which was clearly impossible. After a few minutes of aimless wandering, my character suddenly spun and did the escape rope spinning animation. Instead of flying up, though, my character spun downwards slowly, as if it was sinking. After that screen, the music stopped, and after finally landing, the overworld sprite of Gold is colored differently now. Instead of the usual red color he dons, he appears completely white now, including his skin. It's as if he came straight from the colorless Game Boy games placed in a color background of the Game Boy Color. I checked his profile, and while now is as white as his overworld sprite. He lost his legs and has what appears to be bloody tears from his eyes. It also says he now has 32 badges, which now starts to disturb me as a change of numbers seems to represent something important. I also checked my Pokemon, which this time contains 5 unknown at a level 100 Celebi without a nickname. The unknown are this time leveled 15 and spelled out dying. I checked out Celebi's profile. It was a shiny Celebi, except there's only half the sprite. 1 arm, 1 leg, 1 eye. It only had 1 attack, Perish Song. The area I was in itself was the Sprout Tower with the immovable pillar as before, except everything is apparently red now. I walked north for what felt like forever. Eventually, I finally encountered some generic men and women NPCs. They were all lined up to the side, just facing the long slantish pillar in the middle. They were also white, and nothing happens when I try to speak to them. I kept going north until eventually the pillar finally appears chopped off, with a transparent red in that spot. I went up to red, and without even pressing A, I was suddenly engaged, and finally in a battle. The music starts again, which it sounds like unknown radio music again, but played backwards. Gold's battle back sprite matches his front one with the bloody eyes, white skin, and lack of arms, while Red sprite was the same as before in GSC, except transparent. The text simply said, "wants to battle," as if he had no name, and both of us only have 1 Pokemon each, which is weird as I swore I had 6 with the unknowns. My shiny Celebi came out, conveniently with half a sprite of the back sprite also. The shiny noise and animation was different as sorry, I'm losing my voice for some reason. As the sounds it made sounded like multiple screech attacks used consecutively. Red sent out a seemingly normal male Pikachu, except he is level 255, and its sprite seems sad and has tears in its eyes. Rather than using Fight, Item, Pokemon, Run menu, I was only given the option to use the attacks. Since Celebi has only 1, I chose it. Naturally, since Pikachu was level 255, he went first. Pikachu used Curse, lowering his speed and increasing his other stats. I'm not even sure if Pikachu could use Curse. Celebi used Perish Song. In 3 turns, both Pokemon get KO'd. Not like I have a choice. At this point, it didn't even go back to the fight menu, as the battle just continued without me. As note, there was no animation at all for some reason. Pikachu used Flail, which didn't do much damage despite his level and boost, as his health was maxed. Celebi used Perish Song. Nothing happened as it was already used. Pikachu used Frustration, which did a lot of damage, knocking Celebi down to less than 10 HP. Celebi used Pain Split, which surprised me as Celebi didn't even have that attack in the first place. Now Celebi and Pikachu have about 150 HP. Pikachu used Mean Look. Not like that did anything. As expected, due to the effects of Perish Song, my Celebi faded, except in the text it said Celebi has died, and instead of the ordinary drop off the screen animation, the Celebi back sprite just vanished. For some reason, the Pikachu was still up, even with Perish Song. It didn't count as my loss. Pikachu used 1 more different attack beyond the 5 attack limit. Pikachu used Destiny Bond. I need to learn how to speak English. Afterwards, it said Pikachu has died with a slow fade out animation. Apparently, I was the winner, and the transparent red sprite showed up and said ... At that point, I just freaked out as the transparent red sprite was suddenly beheaded, leaving nothing but his transparent body. The battle then ended at that point and faded out along with the music. I'm back in the overworld with another change to Gold sprite. He's now transparent as Red's overworld sprite. I quickly checked Gold's profile, where this time the only thing that remains of him is his head, with a transparent skin. The head was zoomed in a bit, showing a black void in his eyes. It now stated that he has 40 badges. I then backed out and checked my Pokemon. They were all level 20 shiny unknown, which when spelled out read no more. Help me. I was at what I now know is next to the end. There was apparently no music playing, but for some reason I still felt like something was there that couldn't be heard. I was back in my room in New Bark Town. Maybe finally I get to play this game properly, but who am I kidding? I knew the sadistic guy must have done something. I walked around my room to interact with things, as I'm a bit afraid of going downstairs to see what's awaiting me down there. Note I said walked, as well as the background was moving. Gold was not moving his transparent limbs at all while doing so, just floating like those ghosts you see in Diamond and Pearl. As expected, the radio, computer, and TV did not work, so I had no choice but to go down the stairs. I ended up in the same lower level of my house. Everything appears normal, except Mom isn't home. After failing to interact with anything in this room, I decided to go outside. To my surprise, that door leading outside at the south didn't work, and instead I just walked straight through into a void. I continued moving south to see what was going on. My house vanishes as I head south into the void. It was creepy as when I entered the void, the outline on Gold's transparent suit turned Sprite. What? Okay, hang on. Yeah. How is this page dangerous? Give me a minute. Hang on a second. Hang on, technical difficulties. Oh no. Alright, now I have to find my place. I don't know what happened. There's a ghost in my computer. Oh no, it's an ad. I don't like these. Go away. No, I don't want you. I don't like you. Okay, hang on. Okay, I can get out of the ad. I have no idea what happened, why I was exited out of that app. Hang on. Okay, let me try this now. Music, please. Go away, Instagram. The outline on Gold's transparent sprite turned white to contrast the pitch black. Eventually, I reached a white area and Gold's sprite turned black and transparent again. I continued south without thinking of stopping at all. After a long trek south, I finally encountered something. It was Gold's regular sprite. I talked to it. He said goodbye forever, notably with a space in between the forever and vanished. As that happened, it said question mark used nightmare, which at that point I would not deny that being possible. Gold did another escape rope animation, spinning slowly downwards like before. I'm now back into that small hollowed out room surrounded by graves earlier, or at least I'd say I was back there, as there's no sprite anymore. I tried to walk around, but nothing moved. No, not even wall bumping noises. I checked my trainer profile with absolutely no Gold sprite left. It said I have 0 badges and all the pictures of the Johto gym leaders at the bottom were replaced with skulls. I checked my Pokemon, which were all level 25 unknown. As expected, it spelled out a phrase that I dared to read, "I'm dead." As soon as I went back to the overworld, the room I supposedly was in was then covered with the same blocks as the walls. I then figured out what exactly that room was when the final text was said RIP. That room was a big grave, surrounded by other graves. Gold has already been dead. He died presumably a few years after he defeated Red. He was a young trainer too, Despite his efforts in collecting so many badges and attempts at becoming a Pokemon master, was still unable to avoid the inevitable fate of death, and his efforts were eventually forgotten by the next generation. I was unable to escape from that text no matter what I pressed. I tried resetting the game and the same thing happened, as which I then finally decided to give up on that horrible nightmare. After that experience, I would never look at the gimmick unknown the same way again. They say that only the first generation have folk tales and legends, but the second generation have shown me how unpleasant the truth can be. I eventually enjoyed Soul Silver immensely, but I still can't unthink what that rigged game has told me. And that's the end. Let me pause the Lavender Town. It's been playing for 18 minutes. Oh, my back. That was fun. I'd read like a fourth of the beginning, not even a fourth of the beginning actually, and I thought it was cool. I think creepypastas are cool. In all honesty, I actually tried to read this last night. I tried to record this last night, because, you know, it's dark and things are spooky at night. Things go I'm sorry. Scrolleth up. But yeah, that was interesting, honestly. I'm probably gonna do another reading of something later today, because I liked that, besides the fact that I still need to learn how to speak English. So yeah, comment something you want me to read below, or I'll find something if nobody does anything. Most likely nobody will. I feel bad for saying that, but it's probably true. Anyways, that's the end of my video. So like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you need to do to make me feel happy. Just watching this video actually makes me feel good. Oh well, that's it.